we're going over to Washington to the Talk Radio News Service, and I believe our caller tonight is Bob Ney.
Hello, how are you?
Bob. I'm very well, thank you, Bob.
Great.
I think this is the first time I've had the good luck to talk to you.
Yes, it's a pleasure to talk with you.
Now, can you tell us, Bob, what has been going on with the Chinese delegation and their visit to America?
Well, this caused a lot of consternation up on the Hill because a lot of people were very, very leery to appear to be, whatsoever sympathetic to the Chinese government, separating it, of course, from the Chinese people. And Harry Reid, the President of the Senate, had made a statement about President Hu being a dictator. Now, he did end up having a photo op with him. But members both sides of the aisle took some lashes out at the Chinese government. The president brought up the issue of human rights, but a lot of people, frankly, in D.C. just believe that nothing's going to change, and it's the same type of rhetoric from the Chinese about trying to make changes in their government. So the Chinese came as aggressors, really. They announced they wanted their currency to be the world currency. So I'm not so sure how much was accomplished. There was a trade deal, which will add some military jobs with production and sale of some military issues to the Chinese.
I do believe that the Chinese also asked for concessions in that they should be able to have more exports from America, and this was countered, saying that let's discuss it in part of a broader agreement on the question of intellectual property abuse.
Yes, because the Chinese have really violated the intellectual property situation for quite a few years. They did try to make some efforts within China, but it's just been an ongoing issue. So again, it's kind of the same old. Down the road, if they get more aggressive on the currency, I think you'll see the Congress becoming more aggressive on China.
Right. And what about the issue with North Korea?
China has always, I guess one could say, utilized that. They have a sympathetic ear, but then again, there's a great belief out there that the Chinese actually kind of broker this with North Korea, saying, look, we're the in-between with you and America. But really not much seems to have changed on that. But that's about the only resource we have actually to deal with North Korea through a third party is China. So that will continue on.
I believe that America were given a pretty strong hands off Taiwan and Tibet as well.
Yes, and again, those are issues that are important to so many people. I just returned from Dharamsala, India, mid-December, where I was up where the Dalai Lama is. Ellen Ratner, our boss, Talk Radio News Service, was over there. And it's an ongoing issue of human rights, and it ties in directly. Also, of course, Taiwan, standing up for Taiwan. Those are two big, important issues, both sides of the aisle in Washington, D.C., with the members of Congress.
I believe that Nancy Pelosi raised the issue of human rights. What did President Hu have to say about the Nobel Prize winner? And I think that this was probably raised as an example of an abuse of human rights.
Well, Nancy Pelosi is one of the largest supporters in Congress of human rights, especially the Tibetan issue also. And, she's raised these issues continuously throughout her career. But the Chinese answer, they didn't answer the first question by Associated Press, but their answer is kind of a script they pulled out back in 1998 with Jiang Zemin, who was premier president at that time, which is, we're working on the human rights issues, and we have internal issues with the Nobel Peace Prize winner as someone against their government. So it just kind of basically, to be frank with you, was the same old script when it comes to human rights. But Nancy Pelosi has always been a supporter, one of the largest of raising that issue, which needs to be done time after time.
Yes, I mean there is no direct answer, is there, Bob? It's not a simple thing. And I mean I believe that President Hu also talked about the Chinese Communist Party committed to creating a modern socialist country. I often wonder about people's concepts of what socialism is, quite frankly.
Well, that's right.
You've seen President Hu. Would you say that he was accurately described as a sort of parody of an ancient Chinese emperor, which is a comment I would believe was leveled at him?
You know, Jiang Zemin was the same way, and I had met face-to-face with him actually in Beijing years back. They're kind of still an old emperor style in a modern-day suit, but the thinking is still the same, and it's ingrained, and it's quite an ancient society, and the modern-day communism is still quite ingrained in them, and they will sidestep the issues as the previous presidents have of China.
Well, I don't think they're alone in sidestepping issues. I see politicians doing that all the time.
That to go around in our own country.
Well, and in my country too. They're experts at it here, although we shout at each other a lot more.
Yes, I actually had the great honor of sitting in on one of those shouting sessions one time and observing them. So I think it was the Mad Cow debate.
Oh, that would have been very, very interesting. Well, I think you're going to see even more shouting coming on. We've just had a change in our the Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, and the mild-mannered Alan Johnson's gone, and the incredibly super aggressive Ed Balls is in there. So you know, it'll be fasten your seatbelts time.
That's right.
What else is happening on the Hill? What about the healthcare issue?
Yeah, that was a big story. The vote was 245 to 189 in the House. Three the members of the Democratic side of the aisle went along with it. Blue Dogs, of course, you know, in their districts. But the big issue is Eric Cantor, one of the Republican leaders in the House, who is directly challenging Harry Reid to, quote, have a vote. That will lead, frankly, to a lot of interest groups spending a lot of money on TV demanding the vote. Not exactly talking about the issue, but demanding a vote, and that will lead to where, you know, quote, Harry Reid is not following through with democracy. It will be up to the Democratic side to counter that with interest groups and to point to changes that are being implemented, which will mean the Obama administration is going to have to really speed up some of the implementation of the bill and be able to brag about it. So it's going to come down to, I think, the airwaves and a philosophical battle and, you know, trying to keep this puppy going, as we say.
You know, on here yesterday, Bob, we had a guy called Dr. Michael Rushnak, who is part of an organization, Americans for Healthcare, or Doctors for Healthcare. I'm not absolutely certain of what the exact name of the organization is, but who was talking about the need for the government to take account of the professionals in the healthcare field in writing the bill, because they're the ones who are going to have to essentially implement it on a day-to-day basis. Do you think that this is ever going to happen in, you know, will it ever get through Congress that this, or be even countenanced apart from lip service?
I think that they will come because, after all, you know, the physicians are a political force. People go in, they like their physician. The physician, frankly, is free to say what they like about a bill or not like about a bill. So I think they're a political force, and if they get very, very active in this and speak out, whichever side of the bill they're on, they can be a political force. And if they do that, they could sway public opinion in a great manner right at the doctor's office. So I think the Congress would behoove itself, no matter where they stand on this bill, to try to at least solicit their input and opinion on it.
Yes, yeah. I mean, and the power of, you know, the power of the people should, well, in a democracy that should work. But tell me, honestly, Bob, do you feel that this has become a battle of wills? Is this healthcare bill something that Barack Obama is absolutely vowed and determined that will pass through regardless of anything? Because it's one of the things he, you know, sort of is a sort of you know, the star in his crown, as it were. Will he do anything to get it passed?
Well, I mean, you've made a very, very important point because, look, he didn't have a lot of successes since he's been president. A lot of things couldn't get through the Congress, but this did. Now, was it a perfect form? No. Was it what he wanted? No. But it did get through. He cannot retract backwards now. He simply can't. If he does, he will further alienate the base. He is up in the polls. People will weigh in 2012 the job he's done, but also a two-party type of government balance. That's a factor, too, but he cannot retract on this. He's got to make sure that the bureaucratic arm of the government, which he controls, will implement this bill in the best way. So this is something he just can't budge on it. I think It would be political doom. The base would absolutely, freak out over it. So he's got to keep full force on this. He has no options.
Right. So we've still got a rocky road to go until it's sorted. Now tell me, Bob, when are you starting on the campaign trail again? You've only got 2 years to go.
Well, the Congress itself is constantly on the campaign trail. That's what they do. They campaign. When I was out there, we all did the same thing, and the elections aren't over with. That night, they start again on their campaign trail. So that's what you're going to see out of members of the House and the Senate. The big focus for the Republicans has got to be, frankly, not a total obsession on who's going to be president. They've got to put forth their agenda. The Democrats have to defend theirs. And that's the way the system's got to work, and money will flow into the system. It was supposed to stop, and it doesn't. It will be money spending just as usual. But I think in today's America, it's a little bit different. They need to beef up their grassroots. The electorate is very fickle. That's not a bad thing, but they're very fickle these days. They put the Republicans in, and they can take them back out.
Yeah, it just sort of, I always call it ping pong politics. Here we go, in, out, and that's right. Just what it is. Well, I think we've got some excellent times to come.
That's right.
In terms of the politics, I'd like to thank you very much indeed, Bob Ney, for coming and giving us such an interesting report. Thank you.
Thank you so much.